Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Thursday, and boy, do we have some good news. Good news? Big news for you. I don't know if it's good. That's your personal opinion. Explosive news, one could say.
Good news? What the hell is that? We don't have any good news.
Okay. Either way, let's go. This is Before Coffee. Let's go into our headlines. Today on Before Coffee, Sam Altman returns as CEO of ChatGPT. Creator OpenAI just days after firing, along with new board.
And we have the latest on the Rainbow Bridge explosion.
Dutch election news. Anti-Islam far-right Geert Wilders bagged shock victory. But is it really shocking after every other country has gone far-right?
And we further explain the OpenAI shakeup and other news.
U.S. Thanksgiving traditions to make Europeans shudder.
Those stories and more, which is National Espresso Day, along with being Thanksgiving, November 23rd, 2023, 11/23/23 on Before Coffee.
Okay, first news story. That's right, this is from Associated Press with about Sam Altman. So I think, when was it? They fired him late last week, culminating in a day-long power struggle that shocked the tech industry, and also brought attention to the conflicts around how to safely build artificial intelligence. San Francisco-based OpenAI said in a statement late Tuesday, "We have reached an agreement in principle for Sam Altman to return to OpenAI as CEO with a new initial board." That makes it sound like it was the board that was the problem and not the CEO, and they just fired everybody. The board, which replaces the one that fired Altman on Friday, it's a coup of some sort. They all just fired him, and then he said, "I got rid of them. Now I'm back on." Will be led by former Salesforce co-CEO Bret Taylor, who also chaired Twitter's board before its takeover by Elon Musk last year. The members will be former U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers and core CEO Adam D'Angelo. That's so random. What? OpenAI's previous board of directors, which include D'Angelo, had refused to give specific reasons for why it fired Altman, leading to the weekend of internal conflicts at the company and growing outside pressure from the startup investors. The chaos also accentuated the difference between Altman, who became the face of generative AI's rapid commercialization since ChatGPT's arrival a year ago, and members of the company's board who had expressed deep reservations about the safety risk posed by AI as it gets more advanced. Microsoft, which has invested billions of dollars in OpenAI, has the right to its current technology, quickly moved to the Altman on Monday, as well as another co-founder and former president, Greg Brockman, who had quit in protest after Altman's removal. That emboldened the threatened exodus of nearly all of the startup's 770 employees who signed a letter calling for the board's resignation and Altman's return. Wow, they really like this guy. One of the 4 board members who participated in Altman's ouster, OpenAI co-founder and chief scientist Ilya Sutskever, later expressed regret and joined the call for the board's resignation. Microsoft in recent days has pledged to welcome all employees who wanted to follow Altman and Brockman to a new AI research unit at the software giant. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella also made clear in a series of interviews Monday that he was still open to the possibility of Altman returning to OpenAI, so long as the startup's governance problems are solved. "We are encouraged by the changes to the OpenAI board," Nadella posted on Twitter late Tuesday. "We believe this is the first essential step on a path to more stable, well-informed, and effective governance. He's not a politician. I know, governance isn't just for politicians. In his own post, Altman said, "With a new board and with Satya's report, I'm looking forward to returning to OpenAI and building on our strong partnership with Microsoft." Co-founded by Altman as a nonprofit with a mission to safely build a so-called artificial general intelligence that outperforms humans and benefits humanity, OpenAI later became a for-profit business, but one still run by its nonprofit board of directors. It's not clear yet if the board structure will change with the newly appointed members. "We are collaborating to figure out the details," OpenAI posted on Twitter. "Thank you so much for your patience through this." Nadella said Brockman, who is OpenAI's board chairman until Altman's firing, will also have a key role to play in ensuring the group continues to thrive and build on its mission. Hours earlier, Brockman returned to social media as if it were a business as usual, touting a feature called ChatGPT Voice that was rolling out to users. "Give it a try. Totally changes the ChatGPT experience," Bachman wrote, flagging a post from OpenAI's main Twitter account that featured a demonstration of the technology and playfully winking at recent turmoil. "It's been a long night for the team and we're hungry. How many 16-inch pizzas should I order for 778 people?" the person asks, using the number of people who work at OpenAI. ChatGPT's synthetic voice responded by recommending around 195 pizzas, ensuring everyone gets 3 slices. That's literally just math. You don't need to... How is that improving human lives by just doing a math equation that you can type into a calculator in the same amount of time? I'm always gonna clown on ChatGPT because it isn't some sort of... It's not intelligence.
Yeah.
It's not what I would call intelligence. As for OpenAI's short-lived interim CEO Emmett Shear, the second interim CEO in the days since Altman's ousted, he posted on Twitter that he was deeply pleased by this result, and after 72 very intense work hours. "Coming into OpenAI, I wasn't sure what the right path would be," wrote Shear, the former head of Twitch. Oh god, see, they're all the same people, man. All these tech people are the same guys. This was the pathway that maximized safety alongside doing right by all stakeholders involved. I'm glad to have been part of this solution. We really are in a dystopian future. So, there you go. There's your big AI news. Everything's back to how it was, and it's still bad. Your story.
I got an AI. So I don't know if it's going to overlap yours, but well, we don't plan this.
I did tell you what I was covering, so just to be clear, I said I was covering OpenAI.
We're going ahead and assume I was awake then, okay? All right. Rain explosion. New details emerge about couple killed in Niagara Falls crash. This is from the Independent UK. New details emerging about 2 people killed in a vehicle explosion in the U.S.-Canada border crossing Niagara Falls on Wednesday, which is the bridge I crossed when I went to Canada this year, on the way there. Law enforcement sources told CNN that a local New York man and his wife, who had not been identified, planned to attend a KISS concert in Canada, but the gig was canceled. The pair spent the night briefly visiting a casino near the border before the speeding Bentley they were traveling in rammed into the crossing at Rainbow Bridge. A Bentley. You know what a Bentley costs? The vehicle hit a curb on the U.S. side of the border and became airborne before combusting in an explosion, according to the FBI field office in Buffalo, New York. And people complain about electric cars, huh? Bentleys are like $200,000 cars and they just blow up. All right. The blast instantly sparked fears of a terrorist attack and prompted Canadian and New York officials to briefly shutter all bridges between the two nations and ground planes at nearby Buffalo Airport. But New York Governor Kathy Hochul later told a news conference that there was no sign of terrorist activity following the incidents. 3 of the 4 cross-border bridges were later reopened. The footage released by U.S. Border Protection show a vehicle traveling at extremely high rate of speed becoming airborne at the U.S.-Canadian border crossing on Wednesday. Okay. The New York Governor Kathy Hochul said the footage was rather extraordinary and it would make your jaw drop in disbelief. That's it. No names. That's the latest. They're probably trying to notify Dix if can. They know all these details, but they're not going to release their names until everybody in the family knows. That's how that works.
Okay, so
Back to you.
Very short story there. Okay.
We might have to gavel out today. You know?
All right.
I think just go ahead and gavel it out. It's Thanksgiving. I'm not as motivated to look for a story, I guess. I found one, but it sucked. It was just stupid. Anyway, go ahead.
It's okay.
That was a
In big Dutch election news, the Netherlands is following the trend of every other country in Europe right now, which is being fascist. That's right. We hate immigrants here. We don't want them to come here. We just want our economies to collapse because there's no workers, and we sure don't want them to be from somewhere else. This is by Euronews with AP. The far-right populist has won a huge victory in one of the biggest political earthquakes in the Netherlands since World War II. I think this is sensationalization. Wilders also won back in 2016, and they said the same thing. I guess they were surprised it happened again so fast. He's been called the Dutch Trump. He's been threatened with death countless times by Islamic extremists. Convicted of insulting Moroccans in Britain once banned him from entering the country. Now Geert Wilders has won a massive election victory in the Netherlands and is in pole position to form the next ruling coalition and possibly become the country's next prime minister. His Party for Freedom, PVV, is projected to win 37 seats according to the latest estimates, well ahead of their nearest rival, a left-wing alliance, which is the Green Party and the Labour Union Party. They're in an alliance, and they're thought to be the strongest opposition to this coalition. However, Wilders likely have to convince other parties to join him in a coalition, something that could prove tricky. His target is 76 seats in a 150-seat parliament. An exit poll revealing his landslide appeared to take even a 60-year-old political veteran by surprise. In his first reaction, posted on a video on Twitter, he spread his arms wide, put his face in his hand, and said simply, 35? Or he probably said like this, 35, because he's Dutch. The number of seats the poll then forecasted his party had won. Wilders, with his fiery tongue, had long been on the Netherlands' best-known lawmakers at home and abroad. His populist policies and shock of peroxide blonde hair have drawn comparisons with the former US President Donald Trump. But unlike Trump, he seemed destined to spend his life in political opposition. The only time Wilders came close to governing was when he supported his first coalition, right, so it's not his first time, formed by Prime Minister Mark Rutte in 2010. But Wilders did not formally join the minority administration and brought it down after just 18 months in office in a dispute over austerity measures. Since then, mainstream parties have shunned him, and now they no longer can. Also, I'd like to point out that that coalition that failed was all because of him, and so a lot of Dutch people are convinced he can't even lead a government properly, but I guess we'll see in the next coming months. We want to govern, and we will govern. The seat numbers are enormous compliment, but an enormous responsibility too, the 60-year-old said in his victory speech. Wilders will have to persuade other parties to join him in a coalition, but whether he can piece together a stable coalition with former political foes remains to be seen. The left-wing Green Alliance, led by ex-EU Commissioner Frans Timmermans, is said to come second with 25 seats. He made clear he would have nothing to do with Wilders, a Wilders-led government. He won't let anyone in the Netherlands go. In the Netherlands, everyone is equal, Timmermans told supporters. Ahead of the vote, the three other front-running parties that said they would not join a Wilders-led government. That may change, however. Coming in third place is likely the center-right VVD, which was our previous kind of majority leader, under the new leader Dilan Yeşilgöz, the daughter of a Turkish asylum seeker, followed by a new party formed by Peter Omtzigt, who vowed to restore faith in Dutch politics. As well as alienating mainstream politicians, Wilders' fiery anti-Islam rhetoric also has made him a target for extremists and led to him living under round-the-clock protection for years. He has appeared in court as a victim of death threats, vowing never to be silenced. Yet he appears to have harnessed widespread frustration about migration with his promises to close the borders. Voting Wednesday at the Hague City Hall, Wilders was flanked by burly security guards scanning the cavernous space for possible threats. He has moved from one safe house to another over nearly 2 decades. I mean, he also just sounds paranoid, but I mean, I don't know. In 2009, the British government refused to let him visit the country, saying he posed a threat to community harmony and therefore public security. Wilders has been invited to Britain by a member of Parliament Upper House, the House of Lords, to show his 15-minute film Fitna, which criticizes the Quran as a fascist book. Says the fascist. I love fascists who are like, that's fascist. Well, you would know, wouldn't you? The film sparked violent protests around Muslim world in 2008 for linking Quranic verses with footage of terrorist attacks. The court mainstream voters this time around Wilders toned down the anti-Islam rhetoric and sought to focus less on what he calls the Islamization of the Netherlands and more over tackling hot-button issues such as housing shortages, a cost-of-living crisis, and access to good health care. His campaign platform nonetheless called for referendum on the Netherlands leaving the European Union, an asylum stop, and no Islamic school, Qurans, or mosques, although he pledged Wednesday night not to breach Dutch laws or the country's constitution that enshrines freedom of religion and expression. He put a hold on his promise to ban the Quran, Islam's holy book. Wilders is set to become the longest serving lawmaker in the Dutch parliament later this year. He has been a member of the House of Representatives since 1998, first for the center-right People's Party for Freedom and Democracy, where he mentored a young Rutte before quitting the party and setting up his Party for Freedom. He demonstrated a softer side Wednesday night by thanking his Hungarian-born wife, Christina, I think it's Christina, but she has a Z in the middle, for her support. Wilders also is a staunch supporter of Israel and advocates shifting the embassy of Netherlands there to Jerusalem and closing the Dutch diplomatic post in Ramallah, home of the Palestinian Authority. Wilders is known for his hardline politics, but also his witty one-liners, and his pets, his two cats Snootchia and Plushia, have their own account on Twitter, with nearly 23,000 followers. Well, I hope the cats can run the country, because I'm not excited. The only thing good about me is it didn't say anything about Andy hates Americans, because then I would be really worried. But to be fair, I think one of the reasons that the Netherlands, I don't know what his plans are. I don't know if he's just a sensationalist and decides very radical positions for his government, or he actually has any education into the things he's saying, because I don't know what his plan would be for leaving the Netherlands, leaving the EU. I have no idea what that would be. He would be surrounded by only EU countries, would have to make new trade deals with all of those. But also, the Netherlands does trade a lot with America, so he would also have to make a new trade deal with America, and probably the UK too. So I just don't see what the plan there is for that, other than to give people something to notice and care about while he changes everything else. Look, we're leaving the EU. Anyways, I'm going to go do something over there in that corner while you guys are looking over there. So we'll see what happens. Yet again, this was only a snap election, so it's only going to last until the next election, where if he can even have a coalition that lasts longer than 18 months. Because as we saw in his past, he tried to do a coalition and it fell through, and then nothing has been done since then. Your story.
Yep, the old populist wins again.
The populist won? Yeah, what a concept, you know? The guy who basically tells you what you want to hear.
Give them a bunch of candy that makes them feel good about themselves, and I'll vote for you. Not going to accomplish a whole lot, but hey, whatever. And we've changed stories to Cold and Audible. You've heard enough about our opinions on AI, which is like, okay, if you want to be lazy, you're going to get the results you get. That's basically, I don't know if that's your opinion, but that's mine. This is going to be a story about Thanksgiving. This is from AP. Maddie Burakoff. Giving thanks isn't just a holiday traditions, it's part of how humans evolved. It is a season of giving thanks. In the United States, we're having Thanksgiving today, which includes eating a turkey and watching football. Preferably a cooked turkey. It's a season of giving thanks, and it turns out humans have been doing it for a long, long time. As more researchers dig into the science of gratitude, they've found the feeling that played a key role in helping our ancestors band together and survive. That legacy continues today, as being in the mood for gratitude shapes who we are as species and how we connect with the people around us. There are some things as part of our human DNA. It is the glue and a sense that hold us together. How we got grateful. Humans are social animals. That's how we've lasted so long, not by being the biggest and the strongest, but by being able to figure out how to work together. Also, humans figured out how to cook their food so they didn't have to spend their brain energy digesting it. So they got smarter. A key part of building relationships, well, that's a key part of cooking food, right? It's a social thing. A key part of building relationships is the idea of reciprocity. If you like me and do nice things to me, then I'm going to like you and do nice things to you. Sort of. The animal kingdom has some parallel give and take behaviors, said Malini Suchak in the Animal Behavior Research at Canisius University. Experiments with Capuchin monkeys and chimpanzees, Suchak found that primates became more willing to help out a partner if that individual helped them in the past. Some scientists think that the feeling of gratitude evolved into helping exchanges going. In other words, if you were helped, you feel like you should repay the debt with a good deed in return, said Jenny Nelson, who researches gratitude at Baylor and Harvard universities. Whoa, those are diverse places. One's in Texas and one's in Boston. This give and take is very, very primal and very important in a corporate society. Otherwise, you just get culture of takers. If in animals and in humans, these aren't always one-to-one transactions. Sometimes an ape that gets groomed by another will later back that partner up in a fight, Shuchak said, showing that the reciprocity might not be about getting exact scores, but forming broader emotional ties. Though we can't speak chimp well enough to know if we're actually saying thanks, Suchak added, it makes sense that some form of the social debt showed early in our lineage. You just pop out of nowhere, humans evolved. How we stayed grateful. Thousands of years later, gratitude was taken root in humans. Studies have found that gratitude may show up in a few spots in our genes and our brains, including ones linked to social bonding, feeling reward, and seeing other people's point of view. And the feeling emerges early on. Children as long as 2 and 3 demonstrate they want to return favors, and said hard to pronounce name, Amarisha Vaish, who studies moral development at the University of Virginia at age 4, children also showed a tendency to pay it forward. In a study, Vaish found that when kids got help competing at tasks, in this case, finding a key to unlock the box of stickers, they were more likely to share their sticker reward with a new person. Well, guys, that's probably true because now they're in on the game. It's that kind of a behavior that shows the gratitude more than simple exchange, Scheinecker said. It can make us more generous with other people in general, and even if they didn't help us first. Giving thanks might be good for you too. A 2016 study found that people who wrote letters of gratitude reported better mental health and saw changes in their brain activity even months down the line. But Nelson pointed out that recognizing the giver is not just a gift, is the key. So if Thanksgiving has you in the mood for gratitude, she suggested focusing on thanking the people in your life rather than just making gratitude lists of the stuff you have. This is more in line with why the feeling evolved in the first place, she said. Well, Thanksgiving is about sharing the feast. I mean, when you do kill a buffalo, you're not going to eat it all that day. Since refrigeration wasn't invented, eating became a social thing. And since we invented fire, we invented social gatherings and around the fire, share the beast, give thanks to whatever, probably the animal itself for dying, for not trying to fight, I'm going to kill you humans. Thank you, animal. And of course, like I said earlier, humans can use their brains to think about stuff instead of using all of their bodily energy to digest food because we cook it first. Your story.
I see you also watched that documentary about food. There's a documentary that I watched that was about food in history, and the first episode started with, why did we start cooking food? And then all that kind of how it made us smarter and have big brains. I guess that is now an accepted theory, at least here on Before Coffee, and it's accepted theory, okay? That's why we're smart.
We're going with it.
Yep. Okay. Speaking of Thanksgiving, of course, let's talk about all the things that Europeans find weird about Thanksgiving, because Europeans have opinions, and they're allowed to have them, just like everyone else. This is from Johnny Walfis from Euronews Culture. From pardoning turkeys to ruining dinner, here are the strangest American Thanksgiving traditions that Europeans can't understand. Now, I'm sure that these are just plucked out of the internet somewhere, and they're not actually like everyone does them. Because I know everyone's Thanksgiving is different. It's Thanksgiving Day in the US. Americans around the world will be celebrating today, the third Thursday of November. The national holiday in the US originates in a harvest festival celebrated by the Pilgrims and Puritans that had immigrated to the US from England in the early 17th century. The historical account of the first US Thanksgiving revolves around a meal that the Native Americans, Wampanoag, helped prepare for the newly arrived Pilgrims who had run out of resources in 1621. Today, families and friends gather around a table to celebrate Thanksgiving, indulging in a bountiful feast. But this isn't your typical European feast. Thanksgiving dinners are defined in part by the use of ingredients native to the US. Chief of those ingredients is turkey. The large bird is native to North America and is regularly the centerpiece of any Thanksgiving dinner. While we could go around the house and describe all standard components of a Thanksgiving dinner, we're going to use this occasion to engage in an important European tradition. Here at Euronews Culture, they're going to now poke fun at a particular tradition that Americans engage in annually. Marshmallows during a main course. The first one is a real litmus test for Europeans versus Americans. If you read that and immediately started retching, bringing up last evening's helping of Chateau Enouf de Papa, I don't know how to say that. I'm not French. And Roquefort, at the thought of putting a children's sweet in a main course, we have bad news for you. And you're probably French. If you instead read that and thought of course, I love candied yams, then you should be proud to know you're a member of the United States of America. Europeans, still yourself for a moment and let us explain. For many years, Americans have been making a dish for Thanksgiving that involved pouring a thick sugar syrup over roasted yams. Then, they top it with this large portion of marshmallows, which are toasted in the oven. This grotesque display of gluttony is then served alongside the turkey instead of a dessert. It's indulgent, it's obscene, it's inspired. Of course, such a sugary dish sounds horrifying to us pretentious Europeans, but give it a chance. Why not sell a corner of your taste buds? Why not sell a corner of your taste buds alive during one course? Salt, fat, acid, heat, and sweat. It's a culinary adventure that befits the nation that showed Europe the finger. I remember the first year Mom made candied yams, and I was very confused. I was like, I'm supposed to eat this? I don't know if she made it ever since then, but I was really confused what was going on. So I never had it until like I was 20 or something is when she made it for the first time. I was like, what weird ass Thanksgiving video did you watch on the internet to make you think, let's put marshmallows on yams?
Yeah, people just try stuff on Thanksgiving. That's what it is. It isn't like the same thing here. I've never experienced the same thing. It's usually somebody brings a dish and it's like, look what I'm trying. Hawaiian goulash. All right, cool, let's try it. You know.
Next.
Just Thanksgiving for food you have, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I got a video.
Okay, I'm still reading my article.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You can just type in chat and I'll read it. Next is the turkey.
No,
I beg your pardon? That's right. You already likely knew that the turkey is an important part of Thanksgiving. You should do. It's even mentioned in multiple paragraphs of this article. But did you know that between 1873 and 1913, Rhode Island farmer Horace Voss sent a turkey to the White House? From this, a tradition grew. The turkey gifts to the president became a standard feature of the holiday. Everything became official in 1947 when President Harry S. Truman started the turkey presentation ceremony. This first time a turkey was pardoned, The first time a turkey was pardoned, though, was when John F. Kennedy suggested not eating his gifted bird 3 days before his assassination in 1963. Wow. That was just a couple days ago as well. The act was called a pardon by the press, and the tradition was enshrined by Ronald Reagan and made official by George H.W. Bush, reversed his middle names, and made it part of the ceremony. The turkeys are sent off to live on farms, while during 2005 to 2009, some were allowed to walk the Thanksgiving Day parade. Everyone else still eats their turkeys, though, and they get them from the grocery store, so they never actually see the bird in question. Although brief, we mentioned that the core of Thanksgiving is recognition of the value of the harvest, the power of land, and more importantly, the kindness of a Native American people giving to colonial settlers. With those three values combined, what's the most US of a way to celebrate the end of Thanksgiving? By ripping at the flesh of your fellow Americans as you pry their grubby hands off the incrementally discounted tat you never need nor want. USA! US! That's in the article. I didn't do that. Already exported over to our European shores, Black Friday sales promise incredible discounts on anything you can spend your hard-earned dollars. Of course, when there's a chance to consume an even greater scale, the world's most voracious capitalist nation goes all in. Since the 90s, Black Friday sales have exploded into more than just innocent shopping. Walmarts across the land descend into a quasi-purge-style dystopia. Thousands wait outside shops before storming the entrances. Fights break out. Guns have been shot. The fact that Black Friday shopping event has a death toll is all proof Europeans need for their hunches about America. To quote Monty Python, on a second thought, let's not go to Camelot. 'Tis a silly place. So there you go. There's your fun little poking fun at America and their weird marshmallow turkey pardoning and murdering each other over 19-inch televisions for way too much that are like €100 or something, and they're like, yeah, free television basically. It's basically free. I'm sure.
What?
Sorry?
I always like the scene from prison, you know, the guy sitting in a cell. What are you in for? Well, I'm killed 14 people. What are you in for? Murdered somebody for a big screen TV at the Walmart.
Was it worth it? Well, my kids are happy.
And the TV got broken. And the cops took it anyway. All right.
Well, your day in history, I guess. Or our day in history. The day in history.
Well, I'll read slow so you have time to look at the video I just sent you. But did not notice Secretary of State was a hoochie coochie man, but apparently he plays a left-handed Stratocaster pretty good. So yeah, it's pretty nice actually. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but it was pretty impressive. All right, this day in history. And I got the wrong phone. There, I got two phones. Looking at the wrong phone for the stories I called up. All right. Too much on one of them. All right. This day in history. Okay, this day in history, November 23rd, in the year 912, the Holy Roman Emperor Otto I, who, during his reign in the 10th century, consolidated the German Reich by his suppression of rebellious vassals and his decisive victory over the Hungarians, was born. In 1407, Louis I, Duke d'Orléans, was assassinated by agents of John the Fearless, Duke of Burgundy, during the power of struggle over the control of the French King Charles VI. John the Fearless, Duke of Burgundy, probably was fearless after he drank all that Burgundy. In 1765, British Stamp Act received its first repudiation from the jurists of the Frederick County Courthouse in Frederick, Maryland. So that was the beginning of the American Revolution. Like, we don't want to pay taxes. 1863, the Battle of Chattanooga, a decisive Union victory during the American Civil War, began. In 1883, Mexican painter Jose Clemente Orozco, considered the most important 20th century muralist to the work in fresco, was born. All right, he was born in the 19th century, though. In 1887, English actor Boris Karloff, who became famous for his sympathetic and chilling portrayal of the monster Frankenstein, was born. And the movie was made in 1931. In 1935, Lincoln Ellsworth landed in the Ellsworth Land, Antarctica, and claimed it for the United States, a claim that the U.S. government has never taken up. That's kind of funny. What do we want Antarctica for? It doesn't have oil. 1936, the first issue of Life was published. The magazine later became a pioneer for journalism and one of the major forces that fuels development. And 1946, at least 6,000 Vietnamese civilians were killed in a French naval bombardment of the port city of Haiphong. Way to go, morons. 1963, the first episode of the British science fiction series Doctor Who aired, and the show became a landmark of British popular culture. One day after the Kennedy assassination, Doctor Who premiered. Coincidence? I don't know. We had time travel involved, so I would think there was something kind of, what's the word? Suspicious. 1990, British author Roald Dahl, who was best known for his irrelevant. He's best known for being irrelevant. That's a good trick if you can pull it off. How irrelevant are you if you're well known? Think about it. Anyway, who is best known for his irreverent children's books, which included James and the Giant Peach and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, died in Oxford, England, in this day in 1990. So, the guy who invented Willy Wonka. 2011, amid a popular uprising, part of the wave of pro-democracy protests known as the Arab Spring, Yemeni President Ali Abdul Salah effectively ended his rule by signing an agreement that transferred power to Vice President. Saleh officially left office 3 months later. It took him a while to pack. Featured event today. In 1855, Ley Juarez passed. Passed on this day in 1855 in Mexico, the Ley Juarez abolished special courts for the clergy and military in an attempt by Justice Minister Benito Juarez to eliminate the remnants of colonialism in Mexico and promote equality. The city of Juarez is named after him. It used to be just called El Paso del Norte. Feature biography. Il Bronzino, Italian painter and poet, born on this day, November 17th. No, he was born he died in this day, November 23rd. He was born on November 17th, 1503, died in 1572 on this day. Birthdays today, Billy the Kid, American outlaw, was born in 1859. 1887 is the birthday of the guy we already talked about, Henry. No, we didn't talk about this guy. Henry Moseley, British physicist, was born in 1887. Already talked about Boris Karloff. Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, was born in 1962. And Miley Cyrus turns 31 today. She was born this day in 1992. Miley Cyrus, 31. Just another old, aging person. Not a kid anymore. And what day is it today besides National Espresso Day? It is National... Well, it's National Day of Mourning. So I guess National Day of Mourning, giving thanks, being somber, being serious, and watching football, getting drunk, and fighting with your relatives. Because it's Thanksgiving. And it's also National Espresso Day, so you get jacked up in the morning, too, before you get all... It's Fibonacci Day. Do you know what that is? I don't either. And it's also Wolfnoot. You know what Wolfnoot is? Sounds Dutch. The Fibonacci Day honors Leonardo Bonacci, one of the most influential mathematicians of the Middle Ages. The date corresponds to the first numbers of the Fibonacci sequence. 11, the first four numbers are 1, 1, 2, 3. So it's a nerd holiday, my friends. It is a nerd holiday. Nerd alert, only nerds know that one. And Wolfnoot. Every year on November 23rd, Wolfnoot celebrates both the spirit of the wolf and kindness. It is also a day that encourages people to be kind to animals, especially dogs, as they are descendants of the wolf. All right, that's it. So it's about a dog holiday. It's not a national or an international, it's just a day.
Wolves and dogs should be respected animals. I agree. They have intelligence. I mean, all animals have intelligence. Anyways, happy Thanksgiving to those Americans out there. And, oh wait, did you want to say goodbye? You should say goodbye.
And this is Roger saying goodbye to the United States for Thanksgiving. Gonna take a nap and wake up in 3 hours and watch football for like 3 or 7 days.
And then stuff some turkey in your gob.
And I hate turkey.
I love turkey.
Cornish game hens. You're the only person I know that loves turkey. I can't.
Okay.
I can't tolerate it. I just go, ugh. What did I just eat? Yeah. I got Cornish game hens. They're really small. They cook really fast. Anyway, that's Roger for the United States for Before Coffee, November 23rd, 2023.
And this is Allison from the Netherlands, hoping that I don't see people's house getting egged for being Islamic. And here in the Netherlands. And I will see you tomorrow for the end of the week on Friday. Here is your mic drop moment.
Woman told my mother before I was born, gonna be a man-child coming, gonna be son of a gun, gonna make pretty women's jump and shout, and the world will know what it's all about. You know I'm head. Everybody knows I'm here. Well, I'm a hoochie coochie man. Everybody knows I'm here.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.